Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Sorry, I choked a little bit there. March 30th, 2021 is our date, and this is episode 252. We're going to take a look at Shadecraft. This is a #1 issue from Image, came in at $3.99, and on our cover we've got Zadie Lu, who's a high school girl who is terrorized by shadows. Right off the bat, I cannot give this my good excavating seal of approval. I can't really recommend it. It reads like a young adult novel, a YA novel. So I think that's might be their pitch to it, is try to go with that kind of genre, maybe even like a movie pitch to Disney or something like that. But the story itself is very simplistic, and the art in it is fabulous. I really enjoyed the art, but the dialogue and the storyline is very basic. I don't know if you're looking for a more intricate, interesting story. I think you're gonna have to look elsewhere. But for someone that's in their early teens, they might really like something like this. Okay, that's my recommendation on it. Let's take a look at it real quick. The writer was Joe Henderson. Art and cover was done by Lee Garbett. Colorist was Antonio Fabella. The letterer was Simon Bolin, with Rick Lopez Jr. doing the editing on this. And it starts out, we get this backstory, it's a little bit of a backstory that Zadie Lu is a very lonely girl at school. She's only got a couple of friends, one being Josh here. And the reason she puts on it was because her brother got in a car accident and he's in a coma. So she is known as the coma boy's sister. So you'd think that would actually give people sympathy and they'd want to check in on her and talk to her and stuff, but no, that's not what happens here. So anyhow, she's walking home with him. He's kind of walking her home. He says he's got an alternative motive. I'm sorry. And she thinks it's because he likes her. So she lunges and kisses him. And he's like, no. And if you look at him, I think there's some underlying thing going on with him anyway. Like perhaps his orientation might not be suitable for her. So anyway, she gets all freaked out and runs off, and she's by herself going, oh, why did I do that? I'm going to lose another friend. And suddenly these shadows start appearing and following her to the point where she gets to her house and she just freaks out in the yard. And look at this art. This is really cool. And so I was kind of hoping there'd be more to this story. And she's really getting freaked out, and I guess her mom comes to the front door, turns on the porch light, and the shadows dissipate. And they bring her inside. And it's the next day, and she tells a story to her other best friend, and about not only about the shadows, but about what happened between her and Josh. And she's always kind of downtrodden. She's a woe is me type character. And so she meets up with Josh again. She apologizes, gives him a hug, and she's just happy that he's okay, because she thought maybe he had got attacked and eaten by the shadow monster, but he's just avoiding her. And look at this look on his face. I mean, I kind of think that he's going to tell her something out later on the arc about his orientation, obviously, because Zadie Lu's pretty cute, okay? John Well. So she's walking with her friend. I don't know what her friend... Oh, Kate. Her friend Kate, and there's a shadow that suddenly becomes on the wall. So she just thinks it's the shadow monster again. She pushes her friend Kate, watch out, I'll protect you. And it turns out, I guess these people overheard her telling Kate about the story about the monster, or Josh, either one, Kate or Josh, telling the story about the shadow monsters. And so this guy was filming her with the light on and casting a shadow, which, during the daytime, I don't know if it would cast that much shadow, honestly, unless these hallways are pretty dark. But it is what it is. And see, even here, there's a shadow appearing when no one else seems to have much of a shadow. So who knows? Anyway, she goes home and she goes to her brother, who's in a coma, is actually in the house. So she's talking to him right in the house. He's been in the coma for like a year. He looks pretty buff, though, for being in a coma that long, but that's kind of the way things go. She just says, kind of this very angsty, I hate you more now that you're in a coma. I hated you before, I hate you even more, and that's her way of saying she loves him and all that. But she's kind of crying a little bit, and then the mom breaks in and says, "What are you doing in here?" And the father comes. They both, boy, those are really young-looking parents. Must have had them when they're like 12. So anyway, she gets all upset and she runs out in the woods, and of course, she notices she doesn't have it really as a shadow. She just sits down, and suddenly the shadows come to life again, and she gets attacked. And here's this big spread, but suddenly there's this other shadow. I didn't notice this at first, but there's another shadow that kind of leaps out and attacks this one, and comes to her rescue. And she runs off. The shadow actually tells her to run, so she runs off. And a little bit more goes on. I don't want to give it all away. It's not really that great, but. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be more to come. You get a blurb from Joe Henderson. You get this is nice. You get this extra art in here. In the next issue, here's the cover. She's the school counselor, because of course she's having issues and everything. She's going a little crazy. But that's what we got on this one. It's, like I said, it's recommended for young teens. I think that would be the group here, because, like I said, the story's not that interesting. It's not that intriguing. You kind of can really guess what it is. Without, I didn't even want to give any more away because there's so little to give away on this. The art in it's good though, so I would give it kudos for the art on this. So thank you for stopping in and listening to me rant and rave about this comic and listening to my review. As always, please like, please subscribe, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.